If Jesus says John the Baptist was a burning and shining lamp in his generation, well, let's take a moment and just zoom in on how he talked about his ministry. He says, the one who has the bride is the bridegroom, and the friend of the bridegroom rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. Therefore, this joy of mine is now complete. He must increase, but I must decrease. So first of all, John clarifies that the saints belong to Jesus, and there's no competition. Now, John never claimed credit or ownership of what rightly belonged to Jesus. He demonstrated that extraordinary cooperation that we talked about in week 4. But second, John calls himself the friend of the bridegroom. John wasn't chasing validation in a certain platform or credentials or titles. If John was wearing a name badge and it just said underneath his name, a friend of Jesus, that was enough for him. Now, third, John's win condition was solely linked to elevating Jesus. He had no concern with elevating or defending or trying to justify himself. If being a friend of the bridegroom meant suffering loss, having times when you become more popular and you become less popular, or even dying for Jesus, well, John didn't argue with that. He simply focused on Jesus alone as the highest example of wholehearted love. And look at how Jesus talks about John's ministry. It's fascinating. In Matthew 11, Jesus says this of John the Baptist. He says, "Truly I say to you, among those born of women, there has arisen none greater than John the Baptist.